Am I the only guy that likes it?
Yes, obviously.
This is time for the bigs to really showcase their talents.
Oh my God!
This is Oos.
Welcome into Command Center, Commanders family. We are out here in the bubble out in Ashburn for Media Day, giving you a special Command Center right from Media Day. I got legends here. We got current players. You guys are going to hear a ton of great stuff, and it all starts right now. What's good, Commanders family, and welcome into Command Center. We are out here in the bubble in Ashburn. It is Media Day. Brian Coleman Jr. here with Mr. 8-9, Santana Moss, the mouth of the South, Fred Smoot, and the prospect Professor Logan Paulson. Now, Tanner, before we got on air, we were talking about this. Y'all Media Days looked a little different than all this.
So different. Didn't have this much going on, but I can tell you that every day we knew it was media. Every time we knew it was Media Day, we just knew to come here, take our team picture, and get up out of here. So I love the fact that now there's a lot of stuff going on. They have different things that they can, set up for. They can, do their little cards, their little intros. So it's pretty sweet.
Fred, when you think back to when you was a rookie, stepping in here for the first time, having your first Media Day, do you remember that, and how loud were you?
I was just yapping. You told me it was Media Day, so I'm going to get a media something to talk about. It's one of them things where I think it starts to hit you that you're in the league. Mm-hmm. Like when it was my first time doing this, I was kind of blown away by it, but I also could get into the theater part of it and understand that this finna push us forward. Like the season is about to start. I think Media Day secret to me, I'm finna have like 4 more weeks off and then training camp coming.
Logan, when you think about these Media Days, I'm sure it was a little different for you as well, being an undrafted guy. What was that like? What was your mindset? Was this kind of like you, like that pinch me moment?
No, I hated Media Day, man, because you had to get out there and like sign a bunch of autographs and talk to a bunch of people that didn't really they wouldn't talk to you any other time.
Any other time.
And so I think the other thing that was interesting about my experience is I started kind of when Tana was in it too, right? Yeah. So like come in, take the team picture, and then when I finished, it was like you had to do 5 different camera angles and talk to this people, and they had the crazy Zoom 360 approach for the intro on the Jumbotron. So it's changed a lot, and I think it shows where the game's going and how important that media element is to it. And again, it's a little bit frustrating because again, when you're playing, all you care about is ball. So this seems superfluous. It seems extra, but again, a lot of guys like it. It's a way to build the brand. You know what I mean?
I'm gonna say, am I the only guy that likes it?
Yes, obviously. Yes.
You're probably the only person that fans agree would be like, oh, he's gonna be in media when he's all said. And I think people are still very surprised that Tanner does this. But we're going to have so much fun here in Media Day. We're going to be hearing from players. You're going to be seeing all the sights and sounds. We have so much fun, and we do it all for our Command Center family. As you can see, the Commanders are out here in Ashburn, Virginia at 2025 Media Day. We are getting to see some new faces in the burgundy and gold for the first time, and we are seeing some familiar faces to run it back for another season. Looking forward to seeing our guys in our new threads. And somebody we are very fortunate to catch up with was our safety, Jeremy Reeves, who's in his 8th Media Day for the Commanders. Let's check him out. It's time for Best Seat in the House, presented by SeatGeek. The most disruptive idea in ticketing, a ticket that works. Expect the expected. SeatGeek. Commanders family here on my guy, All-Pro Revo, Jeremy Reeves. My brother, good to see you, man.
Good
we are Media Day. You having fun?
Sir. Always a great time, man. Always a great time. It's my 8th one, so it's pretty cool.
8 Media Days, man, but for some reason this season, this energy, this vibe just feel a little different. Last year felt different. Now it feels even more special, man. Can you talk about that a little bit and what it's like for you being the elder statesman in the building?
I mean, it's a blessing, right? It's just like, you go through the ebbs and flows of everything, and now you come out on the other side, and now you're somebody that people look to. So right now it's just about, setting the example and, implementing the culture that DQs and AP are big on. And so just piggybacking off what we built last year, man. It's exciting times here.
It's kind of crazy because like when we first met years ago, you were still in that like prove it mentality, trying to show your worth here. But this coaching staff, they see your worth. They know it. You one of the top dogs here, especially when it comes to being a leader, man. How great is that for you at this point in your career?
It's a blessing, man. It's because it's like the fruits of your labor, right? Man. But at the end of the day, right, like every day I'm still in the same mentality that I was 5 years ago. I think that's what gives me the edge of being who I am, right? It's just like you never get comfortable, right? And so that's big for me, is just always remembering that, like, the journey of what it was to get here. You find new goals and find new things, obviously, to chase after.
And you and Bobby, y'all are definitely leading by example when it comes to these guys. So I got to ask you, man, because even though you talk about being the older guy, there's still a lot of work to be done. There's still goals that you have to set. 100%. What were some of those goals this offseason for you, and what did you work on?
I wrote down, actually, and I was talking to the rookies about this, right? It was like you have to be honest with yourself and understand that, like, once you get to the top of one mountain, there's always another mountain, right? Everest has several cliffs. So for me, you know, I wrote down 5 or 6 goals, you know, and the different roles that I want to partake in, and just honestly, like, you know, getting back to Pro Bowl, getting back to All-Pro, earning my defensive reps, and just continuing to be the leader and growing up on that I've done. And those are some of the small things that I've had, right? You put it down in writing, so subconsciously you're always aware of what you're working towards. And so those are the things for me that I've now gotten to, because, like I said, early in my career, I checked off a lot of boxes that I had for myself. And so now it's like, okay, well, I've done this. Where else do I need to go? Where else do I want to go? And so I've now put those milestones of where I want to be at and what I'm working towards. And so every day that's in my back of my mind that I'm building towards that.
Always great catching up with my guy, Jeremy Reeves. And it's always great when a good guy gets the bag. That's right, All-Pro Revo signed an extension with the Washington Commanders. Commanders family, our guy Reeves isn't going anywhere. Now, let's take a look at some of the Commanders' new defensive additions this offseason. We have defensive tackle Javon Kinlaw, defensive tackle Eddie Goldman, Dietrich Wise out of the Patriots. He comes with a Super Bowl championship. Then Jacob Martin, Will Harris, Jonathan Jones, another Super Bowl champion. And then, of course, our rookie class, defensive back Trey Amos and linebacker Kane Madrano. Now let's talk to the fellas about some of our newest defensive additions. It's time for Securing the W, presented by Hercules Fence. Security in every job. Fellas, we see those defensive additions. Not a lot of big names, but guys that can make their impact really, really felt. Logan, let's talk about that defensive line first, because when you saw Javon Kinlaw in person, it was amazing, his stature. And it feels the same way with Wise. When you look at that defensive line group, how do you feel we improved there?
I think they definitely went out with a vision this offseason and said, we got to get better and get guys that know how to stop the run and do what they're supposed to do. And I think just think of it as getting better in the aggregate, right? I think, you know, every Fowler goes, right, 10 sacks leave. Fans have been talking about that a ton, but I look at Dietrich Wise. He's been a great pro in New England for a long time. I look at Kinlaw, and his upside is tremendous. I look at Goldman, what he does as a nose guard, stopping the run. And think about the floor of that group, Fred. And if you can get better, what is the biggest weekness for the defense last year? Stopping the run, right? If we can get better in that area with those additions, I think this defense's ceiling gets that much better, and especially in the back end, because you get more third downs. I really think it's a really well thought out plan of what they want to do this offseason with those
What
guys.
was the story of the NFC Championship? We got pushed around. So what we did, we went and got better, bigger in the trenches, from the D ends to the nose tackles to the 3 techniques. It didn't matter. And when you add guys like Kinlaw and you add them in a rotation, don't forget the one thing about Coach Witt. He makes sure he rotate all of those guys. So he's going to get those guys to go out there and to give them a chance to win against the run on first down, making it hard to beat them on third down. So I thought what they did was really reinforce what we thought. We went and got the guys that smell like bacon. They are the guys that change football games. It's all about the big boys.
And Fred talked about the reinforcement part of it, and I'm going to keep reemphasizing just that veteran leadership is huge for us. Just knowing that you got guys in there that been there, done that has played at the top of their games and the top level when it comes to a team aspect. It's great to have them in now on our team.
Yeah, I think it's interesting, too, because I think these additions allow other guys, like some of the younger guys on the roster, to kind of step into better roles, right?
Like, with the Newtons and everybody.
100%. And I think that's something that's really, really valuable too. Is like you get better across the board because people aren't playing out of position, not playing in roles that they shouldn't be playing in, right? So I look at Jean Baptiste and I say, man, if he's your rotational guy, that could be very devastating. Newton, same thing. So I think that's a really nice kind of subtle benefit of getting these additions.
And those big guys keep Bobby Wagner and Luvu clean. And that's what people don't that's what they underestimate when it comes to big guys, keeping those offensive linemen off of those second level guys.
You remember a guy like Ray Lewis back in the day when
Sarah
they got rid of his big guy. He threw a tantrum. So you got to make sure you protect those guys back there.
And to Tanner's point about the leadership, we bring in guys with Super Bowl pedigree, with Super Bowl experience, like a guy like Wise. How valuable is that? We kind of talked about that on Field Pass last week, the value of bringing in championship mindset and these guys that have won it before, man. How valuable is that, Fred?
Well, when you're on a journey and you want your journey to end at a Super Bowl, I would rather follow a guy that's been there. Bobby Wagner. I would rather follow Wise. He's been there. When I ask him the question, how do we get here? They can give me a legit answer and not just talk over my head. Tell me this is how I got it done and this is what we're going to have to do to get there. So I think and there's a lot of guys on this roster with Super Bowl credit. So I think it's good for this team, and it's very good for the young guys, though.
Yeah, I think about London Fletcher for our team and like his ability to be like, hey, man, this practice isn't good enough. This is not a Super Bowl caliber practice. This is not a playoff caliber practice. And having a bunch of dudes that have been there, done that. Again, it helps everybody. It helps the young guys, helps veterans from other teams who've never been there. And again, ultimately the goal for this team is to get to the Super Bowl, and getting guys that have been there is very helpful.
And now speaking of London, I had to put this in there because I remember being in one of those practices where he just called everybody up, and I'm like, come on, man. but you understood.
Why?
You understood because when a guy have been to the pinnacle and we're trying to get there, and we so called ourselves trying to come out here and have a lousy day of work, he's going to stop it. He's going to make sure that we check in. And so I love the fact that you have those guys around, because now you already saw that last year. Last year alone with this new coaching staff, they brought that pedigree. They brought that energy. So just to have those players adding to the team like that, it just makes everybody better.
Make it easy.
And mentioning London Fletcher, we will have him on the show a little later. But you talked about that secondary. Jonathan Jones, another guy with Super Bowl pedigree. When you look at the additions we've added, we added Will Ayers, we added Jonathan Jones, of course, we added Trey Amos. How are you feeling about that secondary?
I feel good about it. It allows Sanders still to move inside to go make some plays. It allowed Jonathan Jones, a guy to come in the secondary and say, man, I've been there, done that, you know. Then you also get a Trey Amos, a guy that showed you early in his camps, I'm going to go out here and I'm going to make plays. And that's why I think we got better in the back end when it comes to ball skills. I think all the guys that we have now, they all have well-rounded ball skills. And they also, in a Joe Witt defense, he wants to turn the ball over. And all these guys have turned the ball over capability, not like some of the guys we had last year.
And honestly, Fred, we saw that first day when we were doing that field pass, Logan. Trey Amos immediately started making plays. Now, when you're a rookie, that's not always easy to do when all eyes are on you. How much optimism did that give you for the future of this secondary?
I mean, it gave me a lot of optimism. I got to pump my brakes a little bit because it is just OTA.
It's just OTA.
But I think it's better to see it than not to see it, right? So I think like with a guy like Trey Amos, we see him walking around, the length, the athleticism, the movement skills. It's an exciting time to be a Commanders fan. It feels like they got a lot better in the secondary. Hopefully that's true, and we'll find out in training camp.
And it's not just the new guys as well. We had a guy like Bobby Wagner decide to come back and be part of that linebacker room. I have to imagine his leadership presence, Tana, is going to be huge for this team.
I think it's huge beyond what we can really see. I think some of the things that you see when you hear a young JD5 talk about some of the things that he's doing this offseason alone because of what Bobby Wagner taught him. So just imagine if he's reaching our quarterback, just imagine what he's doing to that room that he's in. That defensive room. You know what I mean? His leadership goes beyond what you see on that field.
And I think we saw that with the play of Frankie Luvu. A career year for Frankie Luvu. And matter of fact, we're going to hear from our guy right now. Commanders family here with my brother. They say I look like you sometimes, man.
I know,
Frankie
man. What's
Luvu.
up,
What's up, twin? My guy, Frankie, bro. It's crazy to see you here, man. Second media day in the Burgundy and Gold, man. How great is it just to be here and be in these vibes?
Man, I don't want to be nowhere else but here. You know what I mean? This is my second year, and man, it's just exciting. A lot of things, expectation that they're looking forward to. But second year of the media, man. I'm blessed and I'm happy to be here.
And when you look at year one, a lot of people would call that a career year for you, really a career-defining year for you. When you reflect on what happened year one with the Commanders, how do you feel?
Man, I'm happy, but I know it's unfinished business. So on my part, and just with the team, you know what I mean. So. We left a lot out there, but last year's last year. This year's a new beginning, new start, new fresh, you know what I mean? So I'm just happy to go out with the guys, man, and and we got some good guys on the team, some good rookies, and just can't wait to get out with them and to see what we have.
And when you say unfinished business, I know you mean that a lot with yourself when you look at how you want to prepare for this year. What were some of those things you emphasized during your off season that you prepared for to get ready for this year?
Man, just mostly my eating, my take care of my body, the extra work outside of the work, right? And these are some of the things that you talk to guys like Bobby, Zach, like they say, man, whatever you're doing here, you got to do 10 times out the building. You know what I mean? Just little things like that to bring my body back to full energy and full battery for me to perform on Sunday. So just little things off that in the off season, and more stretching, flexibility, man. Able to land in different positions. Like the tips push, flipping over and whatnot. If I'm landing in certain positions, I can bounce back. So. Just little, minor errors and tweaks from there, but nothing more than that.
And this, man, talk about happy, bro. I think the fans are just so happy to see you guys running back, because last year, man, it was huge for you. Now, you've been to a couple NFL teams. Have you ever experienced anything like this Commanders fan base, the way they've embraced you, the way they love you, the way they scream your name wherever you walk, man? Have you experienced anything like that before?
Nah, I haven't, man. It's just crazy. My family be in a crowd with them, and they just seeing the jerseys and whatnot. They be like, man, that's my guy, this and this, and yelling tribal chief and all this stuff, man. So it's crazy. This fan base, man, when we start to get winning and heading the right direction, I can see this whole building, just explode. You know what I mean? So it's just a matter of time for us to. We just got to put in the work now. So when the time do come, we can celebrate when the time is.
Now it's time for Top 5, presented by UA Local 5 Plumbers, protecting the health of the nation's capital since 1890. Now, here's a look at Frankie's top 5 stats from this past season. 99 tackles, 8 sacks, 2 forced fumbles, 7 pass defended, and 10 stuffs. A career year for our guy, Frankie Luvu. We are so excited to see Luvu and this Commanders linebacker crew out on that field. Now, we know training camp is just around the corner, so we had to welcome in the legend, the captain, former Washington linebacker London Fletcher and his radio crew to talk prepping for training camp. It's time for your can't miss moment, presented by FanDuel. Make every moment more with FanDuel, an official partner of the Washington Commanders. And welcoming in our radio broadcast crew, the best radio broadcast crew in the NFL.
Say it with your chest, man. Say it with your chest.
We got London Fletcher, we got Brad Weinstein, and then, of course, Logan Paulson. Now, fellas, let's preview training camp because we know we're all excited, chomping at the bits to see our guys out on that field. London, when you look at this training camp in particular, what stands out? What's so important about this one?
Well, this one, when you come off the NFC Championship game a season ago, you've added some new additions to this team, especially along the offensive line and the defensive line. This is time for the bigs to really showcase their talents. The OTAs and the mini camps, it's hard for those guys to really show their talent, but this is when it's all about training camp. You put the pads on. We get to see what the true identity and the makeup of this football team, because Logan and Bram, the identity of your football team, it starts in the trenches with your offense and defensive line.
I think 2 things for me, expectations and anticipation. How are they going to handle hype? Right, this is a very different year than last year. It's going to be a lot of attention on this team. Going to want a lot out of Jaden Daniels. The national media is going to be here, like en masse. So I think it's going to be very different. And the other thing that I'm kind of looking at is experimentation. Sure. That I think there are some position groups where I look at the defensive line specifically, and I go, are we going to get some hints of how they're going to utilize a number of these players because they're versatile and there isn't some clear defined roles at that group. So I'm very interested to see how Dan Quinn, Joe Witt work with that group.
Yeah, and I think I was just going to piggyback off that point. Like, to me, it's the roles, right? Obviously, the pads are really important. The physicality, the practice is extremely important because you kind of figure out who can play, who can't play. But I also think it's like, hey, this guy can do this guy can't do this. Let's find a way to maximize his skill set. And this staff has just done such a great job throughout the years of finding player superpowers, and they've prided themselves on that. So I think, to me, that's what training camp is. It's finding roles, finding an identity really defensively, because I think you go in thinking one thing, right, Fletch? Hey, we're going to be a man coverage defense. Oh, hey, our guys can't really do that as well as we thought. Let's shift it up a little bit. Maybe we're a zone pressure team. Whatever it looks like, I think that's when you kind of start figuring that out in training camp.
One other quick little thing here, too.
Oh, whoa.
I don't know that we're going to find our London Fletcher this year. I don't see a tremendous amount of competition for young players to make this squad. I could be proven wrong about that, but it feels like there isn't the guy that nobody knew before camp started that emerges. We'll see about that.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough when you think about a team that went to the NFC championship game. You won 12 games. There are not a lot of spots for a young guy, other than like a Trey Amos, a high draft pick. He's going to come in and be asked to do a lot of different things. But, as far as an undrafted free agent, they're going to have to make their mark on special teams and then maybe eventually carve out a role on the offensive or defensive side of the ball.
It is interesting you say that, though, because even though it's kind of a lot of the same roster, there's a lot of people like free agent additions that are going to be asked to play huge roles, right? Yeah. You look at Laramie Tunsil, you look at Dietrich Wise, you look at Goldman, right?
Right.
All these pieces are going to have to play Jones in the secondary, right? Like, so even though it's the same, they've upgraded, I think, in an appropriate way, and I think it's going to be a great opportunity in training camp to see what those guys look like.
Here's one thing that I look at as we go into training camp, and it's going to be huge for this team, and particularly on the defensive side of the ball. When you look at what kind of was our Achilles heel, it was the inability to stop the run. Yeah. That's why you go out, you add Javon Kinlaw, you bring in Dietrich Wise, you bring in Eddie Goldman, guys like that. Guys that are bigger and should be stouter and better at stopping the run. So you'll see a lot of emphasis, probably more than in the past, on truly stopping the run defensively, being secure in where you're supposed to be from a gap standpoint, making sure your edges are sound, because the perimeter run was something that really hurt us, making sure the corners and safeties are fitting the run the right way. Because if we all know, If we can't stop the run, I don't think we'll really truly reach our true potential as a football team.
And Logan, Graham mentioned really looking at that defensive line as a position group that he's excited to see in training camp. What position group are you most excited to see coming into training camp? He took defensive line, so you got to get something.
Yeah, I think I'd probably say offensive line, again, because of all the additions, right? Connerly, Tunsil, the reshuffling with Cosme being out. Like, what does that actually look like? And again, it's such a pivotal part of what they are from an offensive standpoint, right? They run so much, like they're a run-first team, but they're also got to pass protect. They got to protect Jane Daniels, your most valuable asset. So what does that look like with this new group of 5? And then the depth, right? Because I think that's another thing. As the season went on last year, we got to see, hey, the depth becomes really important, especially as injuries mount up.
And in London, that's great because Logan mentions that depth. When you look at that linebacker room, right? We bring back Bobby Wagner. We have a Frankie Luvu who's locked in, but then you have a Kane Madrano, a McGee, a guy that hasn't got to play because he was hurt. We look at that linebacker room and that depth. Got to imagine there's some iron sharpening iron there and a lot of competition in there.
Yeah, absolutely a lot of competition, and especially it's going to be some competition at that third linebacker spot. Joe Witt Jr., he mentioned, wanting to maybe play a little bit more 3-down linebackers, especially when teams want to go 2 and 3 tight end sets. They had a role for McGee last year. He got injured, so that kind of went out the door. But you mentioned Kay Madrano, guy who can run. He can run. He can cover. So what kind of role is he going to be able to carve out? Is he going to be a big nickel type of linebacker? Are you a guy that they can trust to cover slot receivers and some tight ends like flex tight ends? So it'll be a huge competition between him and McGee to see who's that third linebacker.
Gotta imagine we all are excited about Commanders football, especially the preseason where you guys will be doing the radio. I'll be doing TV for WSA 9, so we're so excited to get the preseason going. And matter of fact, let's take a look at our current preseason schedule while we get our radio broadcast crew up out of here, the best in the NFL. It's time for your winning numbers presented by the Maryland Lottery. Please play responsibly. Now, fellas, here's a look at our preseason schedule for Washington. August 8th, we will be out in New England taking on the Patriots at 7:30 p.m. Then, August 18th, we are at the crib for the first time in the preseason taking on the Bengals at 8 p.m. Then, the last game of the preseason, we taking on our play cousins. August 23rd, we'll be taking on the Baltimore Ravens at noon. Commanders Family Media Day is always a special time, but it's probably most special for our rookies who get to do all of this for the first time. We caught up with a few of them. Let's hear how their first day went. It's time to raise hell with the rookies, presented by Intuit for Education, tackling financial literacy together. Commanders Family, we are out here at Media Day with one of the rookies, Jalen Lane. Your first Media Day in the burgundy and gold, man. You having a good time?
Yeah, man, I'm having a great time. They got a cool little setup for us, so it's been smooth.
Yeah, man. Last time I spoke to you, you had just gotten in the building, just had put pen to paper. Now you've gotten to do a little bit of the OTAs. You've got to have rookie mini camp. How's it been adjusting so far?
It's been great, man. Coaching staff-wise, they've done a great job acclimating us, getting us ready for, just big league stuff with plays, play calling, all that. And, teammate-wise, man, it's a lot of great vets here that, just help pulling us rookies along and, getting us acclimated. It's been great.
And when we met a little while ago, we had talked about your excitement to work under a guy like Bobby Ingram, but I've seen him now be very, very hands-on with y'all. How great is it to have a guy in the room that's done it before?
Yeah, it's amazing. He's obviously giving us a lot of insight about the receiver position, but also, just his attention to detail with coaching. We're here early in the morning doing walkthroughs, one-on-one, just make sure I understand the little tidbits of the offense. So it's been really cool.
And then, of course, man, you've been here. When you wear that burgundy and gold, you get the best fan base in the NFL. I know you feel that. Every time I open my phone, I'm seeing fans giving you love, man. What has that been like? What's the reception been like being in the NFL? Even though you haven't touched the field yet, you're still getting so much love from these fans.
Yeah, no, it's definitely cool, man. Big shout out to the Commanders Nation, HTTC.
Yeah.
But it's just a cool experience and feel the love. So I'm excited to put on for them.
Commanders Family. Hero, my boy Bill, Jacoby Krosky married in the building. Your first media day. First things first, you look good in that burgundy and gold, brother.
Appreciate you.
Yeah, man, you having a good time?
Yeah, having a great time.
Yeah, man, it's cool to have you up in here, man. Now, last time we spoke, you had just put pen to paper. You had not even touched the field yet, but now you've had rookie mini camp. You've had some OTAs, man. What's it been like so far?
It's been great. This is what I dreamed of, and actually being at an NFL practice and just being with the vets, like it's been a dream come true.
What's it been like, man? Being able to put the jersey on, the pads on, really be in the full uniform, right? Being in this moment, is this like a picture moment right now?
Yeah, it feels good. Sent my family pictures of me in a uniform, and they're super happy. They're super proud of what I've done so far, and it's a dream come true just to, have the official threads on, seeing myself in these colors, and man, it's a true blessing.
And one thing we know, you got a ton of talent, man.
Just got to go do it.
Man, we're so happy to have you here, bro. What a journey you've had, man. Congratulations on getting this far. This is huge, man, and we'll be talking to you soon, my brother.
I appreciate you.
Yes, sir. First media day here with the rookie.
First media day.
Berry. Yes, sir. Raise hell, baby. It's been so much fun catching up with this rookie class, and I got a feeling this one, just like last year, will be extremely special. Now, fellas, in honor of Media Day, we are throwing it back to some of our analysts' rookie season. That's right, the 2001 season. I was in 4th grade. Let's take a look at where our guys were back in 01. Santana Moss and Fred Smoot were rookies. Santana was with the New York Jets, and of course, Fred Smoot was here in Washington. Then, Big Fletch, London Fletcher, was out with the St. Louis Rams. Remember, he won a Super Bowl. Then our guy B. Mitch in 2001 was playing with the Philadelphia Eagles. Now, fellas, y'all got to open your own individual packs of 2001 cards. We're reminiscing right now, so I feel like we got to do this as a family. We got London Fletcher in the building. London Fletcher has a fresh pack of 2001 football cards. He's going to open it right now. We're going to see if he got something that's a little better than what y'all got. Since he didn't get to participate last time.
It's not a London Fletcher card, man.
Not be afraid. I was already a Super Bowl champion. Let's go. Oh, we got
Buffalo.
Sammy Morris. Actually, he was my teammate in Buffalo.
Look at this guy. Look at this guy.
All right, so let's go. Who else?
Man, you just threw him away? Just threw Sammy down like this.
Stephen Boyd. B. Mitch, you probably played against him. Stephen Boyd.
I don't remember him. I probably.
I remember Stephen Boyd.
Let's get out of here. He beat, they gave him one of my Pro Bowls.
You got a P-Dub right there. That
I know you,
Peter Ward.
Yeah,
there you go.
Peter Ward.
Dub, baby.
I'll take that P-Dub off you.
I got it. Throw P-Dub down.
I don't know him.
Quadri Ismail?
Yeah.
The
I
Rocket.
wasn't sentenced him.
The Rocket.
Fired
Yeah, he was a missile. He was a
You
missile.
got some receivers, man.
Frank
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 Sanders.
Sanders is a good receiver.
Frank was cool.
Good receiver.
Frank was a good receiver.
Man, this is way.
But you know,
this is
Arizona,
deep in the
that's
cut,
where people go to retire.
Before I was born.
David Patton.
Oh,
Okay.
DP.
In the Browns
This
uniform.
DP.
That's been safe.
Cleveland, right?
Oh, this is the one right here, London.
You gotta keep that one right there.
I remember him
With the
the
Patriots.
Patriots.
Yeah.
London, this is the one right
Oh,
here.
this one right here. Oh, I'm
A
keeping
T.O.?
this one. I got a T.O.
Oh, there you go. That's a good one.
I love me some me.
He sound like Smoot.
At least you got self-love. It's very important.
Fred, what was those battles like between you and T.O.?
Chambers.
I know you
That's
know this
Chambers. Yeah.
No,
Came in
we
with us.
remind us.
Yeah.
Classmates.
He gave you the business.
Never.
I bet he put up numbers on you.
You know the one thing about it, when they played me, he made sure he had pockets in his pants.
that's a
They
good
were
one
his
right
hands
there.
up.
Oh, Tony. Oh,
That's a
Tony
good
Tony
one.
Saragusa.
That's a good
Oh,
one.
big dog. Big
I'm
dog.
keeping him.
That's a good one.
He kept linebackers free.
I see a LT in there.
Oh, my God.
You got a yellow jacket
I got a yellow
Oh,
jacket.
LT, baby.
and a classmate of me and
Yeah.
Tanner's.
Thomas.
Another classmate of me and
I got
Tanner.
Fred, it's not
action. I
about
got
you.
action.
It is.
You got some good cars, man. That's
Oh,
another good one.
hey.
He came in with us too.
Big country.
Justice Smith.
Oh,
Another
wow.
classmate.
Dude.
2001.
Another
Ball player.
2001.
Man, this is a hell of a pack I just
Yeah, you
opened.
did.
Hell yeah.
You did.
Fellas, how you feel
I
like
don't
y'all
know, man. I think
Man, I'm gonna throw my cards down, man. I ain't even want to talk about
I'm
my
gonna hold
cards,
mine.
man.
I got a Mon
I still
Green.
think I got the group.
I got Corey Dillon.
Fred always thinks he wins.
And
I got
what's
the
the
goat.
last one, though?
Jerry Rice.
Yeah, right.
Jerry Rice.
All right.
Cover Jerry Rice.
I got
The only
Warren
dude got
Sapp.
more yards than me.
I got Ricky Williams. I got Chris Carter. I got Torrey Hope.
Wow.
And classmate David Terrell.
Man, his family and
You got some
Fred
good
tries to
ones.
convince himself he won this battle. Like he always tries to convince himself.
Nah, I ain't gonna lie. London Pack was.
We will see y'all
I'm going
next
to just say
Thursday, as
Jerry
always.
Rice on top of all of this.